Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Dia Davidson alongside Angie Bevan. We are tracking a major winter storm that has already dumped snow, sleet, and ice across the Commonwealth.
And it is not over yet. We've got crews fanned out all over our area, from right here in Lexington to southeastern Kentucky. And the latest from Kroger Field as the vaccine clinic there continues. We'll check in with our team of anchors and reporters in just a minute, but first, the all-important forecast, and Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck joining us now.
Truthfully, I'm looking forward to their reports because you need ground truth as to what's going on out there. Our radars are telling us a lot, but to actually find out what's going on in a particular community is important. Like Lexington right now, it's sleeting. And it's sleeting hard. The question was asked, how can you tell the difference between snow and sleet? You hear sleet. You hear that going on, and it's coming down at a good clip now. Sleet is kind of what we were thinking from this morning was going to be the prime player, and it may end up being that way in Lexington. But you can see it accumulating on cars. This will give you an idea what an untreated road looks like. When you look at the parking lot there over at UK, you can see the sidewalk. It will be slick out there, although Mary Jones over in the Pinnacle area said she just shoveled off her driveway. It wasn't terribly slick, but don't count on that in terms of the slipperiness out there. You want to take a lot of extra care. Driving is going to get worse over the coming few hours. But in terms of stuff to drive on and real world implications, the sleet is better than freezing rain. It's not as good as snow, but it's better than the freezing rain. The freezing rain is the stuff you just don't want to have. Well, the ice storm warning does cover an extensive area of real estate, and it does come up to Lexington. Again, at this point, we may end up with more sleet than freezing rain. Then you look on down to the south, and we're going to see some pretty heavy areas of freezing rain. To give you an idea of what we are thinking here, and if you've been with us the last couple of days, even going back to online on Saturday, we initially put this map out. It's been a gradual northwestward progression onto what's going to be falling. The ice storm threat continues over most of southeast Kentucky except the far southeast, and some of this will be significant in a quarter to a half-inch range. So that's putting ice on top of ice and add some wind into that as well. So you will see a little snow on the back end, but it's not going to be the main player. That would be Moorhead, Richmond, Berea, out toward Beattyville, Somerset, down toward, say, Columbia. Maybe Liberty is in that. In the orange shading that you see here, which would be Flemingsburg, Paris, Lexington, maybe Georgetown over to Versailles and Lawrenceburg, Harrodsburg in that. You're looking at the meteorological buffet. Freezing rain will be in there some, especially the closer you get to the pink area. So the further south, if you're closer to Richmond than, say, up closer to Georgetown, you will end up with more of a sleet or ice mixture, lower numbers here. Bottom line, the freezing rain, 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch of ice, so less than in the ice storm area, but still significant. Also, with the total accumulation of sleet and snow for Lexington and the areas that are in orange, we're going to go to 2 to 5 inches. So we've shaved 1 inch off the back edge of that, because I think we're going to end up with less snow out of the deal. The thing is, sleet also accumulates more slowly. And then we get to the all snow. Maybe northern Franklin County, northern Scott or Harrison County, certainly back toward Shelby County and toward Louisville in the I-71 corridor. It'll be almost all snow, and again, that will be a significant snow. So our future track, as we are watching this go through time, through the 3 and 5 o'clock hours here, 4 and 5 o'clock hours, we are continuing to see an extensive area of sleet and freezing rain. 7 o'clock, same idea, still an extensive coverage of icing, rain across the southeast, snow toward the I-71 corridor. By 9 o'clock, now we're wrapping more cold air into the entire system, and we will see a change over to snow at the tail end of this. By 10 o'clock, you can see everything beginning to wind down. By midnight and beyond, we get the whole thing out of here. But the end result is going to be a significant accumulation of stuff around. Eastern Kentucky, still not seeing much going on at this point, but you see through the I-75 corridor, up to the Ohio River, then back toward I-65, and a pretty extensive area of stuff going on. What may also be happening, you're seeing a little bit of a dry slot trying to form back there, which may lessen some of the overall accumulations. Bottom line is there's a lot of stuff going on. The other bottom line is travel is going to get worse as we go through the next few hours. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Bill, thanks so much. And a quick note before we continue with our weather coverage. Governor Beshear is holding his daily press conference on COVID-19 in the state right now. We will not be going to that today live here on air because of the serious weather, but we will have updated numbers during the show. If you do want to watch the governor, you can do that on our Facebook page, lex18.com, and our OTT streaming platforms.
Now, we've also just learned learned in the last hour, Fayette County students who were supposed to have headed back to the classroom tomorrow will not. The district says tomorrow will be a true snow day. There will be no NTI. FCPS says it will be watching the weather closely and make determinations about the rest of the week at a later time. Now, kindergarten through second grade were supposed to move to in-person learning tomorrow for the very first time in nearly 11 months. Stay home if you can, because things are only going to get dicier out on the roads. That's the word from Kentucky's governor and Lexington's mayor about this blast of winter weather. LEX 18's Carolina Buchek joins us now live from the parking lot of Lexington Green, just off Nicholasville Road, as drivers begin their evening commute. Carolina?
Yeah, and there's really no positive way to spin this. This precipitation, this sleet that's happening right now, it's no fun. It's no fun to be out here standing in it, and it is definitely no fun out for these drivers that are attempting to get home safe. This is Nicholasville Road, obviously one of the biggest roads that people travel through. Right over there, that is the on-ramp for New Circle, another road that many people use to get home and to work every single day. You can see there's definitely a lot of stuff out here on this road, and I have to tell you, this is actually the best that we've seen ever since this sleet really started coming down hard. The side roads, it's really starting to pile up there. So this is Nicholasville, right? This is one of the major roads. This is the best we're seeing out there. So it's clearly not great out there. If you can tell, obviously, though, people are still traveling. You can get through. It is passable, but you definitely have to give yourself some extra time. You need to slow down, and that's because we are seeing some cars have a little bit of trouble. Some cars are having trouble slowing down at that red light over there. And this is the same situation that we saw happening in downtown Lexington. About an hour and a half ago when this started, that's when those roads started getting slick. That's when that gunk started building up on the roads. And it started causing trouble for some of the drivers out there. And it's not just the roads, it's also the sidewalks. They are also getting slick. So if you are walking, please be careful. Now back here near Nicholasville Road at Lexington Green, it's really starting to come down. And this is what Nicholasville Road looks like. This is where people are traveling. Take a look over here where the road hasn't really been touched. You can see this stuff. It's really starting to pack down. Live in Lexington, Carolina Buchek, LEX 18 News.
All right, Carolina, thank you. The weather, though, couldn't stop those looking to get their COVID-19 vaccines in Lexington, at least not yet. People were still in line for their previously scheduled appointments to get their shots today over at Kroger Field.
Even as the University of Kentucky announced this afternoon, in-person classes were canceled for the rest of the day. LEX 18's Jacqueline Nye joins us now with more Storm Tracker team coverage.
It might be hard to see behind me, but in those tents, there's still a steady line of people waiting to get checked in to get their vaccine today. We've been here at Kroger Field all day, and there has been a steady line of people. UK spokesperson we talked to earlier this afternoon says they've had a full set schedule of appointments today. And UK officials stress that you should only come here to Kroger Field for the vaccine if you have an appointment. They will not be accepting walk-ins. And it's also important that if you do come, that you need to come on the correct day and the correct time of your appointment. Now, nothing has really changed about the protocols for specifically coming here, but if you do have an appointment today, UK officials ask that you dress warm, stay in your car if you get here early, and to only get in line at 10 minutes before your appointment. Now, some people have braved the elements today to get their vaccine, and they told me they are thankful for those healthcare workers.
I actually was supposed to get my vaccine last Wednesday, and it closed because of weather, so I was expecting fully for it to be closed today. So I'm really happy.
We were so happy to be coming. This will be our second vaccine, and I know it's I was anxious and just wanted to get it over with because we know how important it is.
UK hasn't made a decision yet on whether the facility will be open tomorrow for vaccinations, but they say they will let patients know if it is closed. In Lexington, Jacqueline Nye, LEX 18 News.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you. Well, we are seeing the sleet around here in Lexington. So what is it looking like a little bit north of here? Let's head now live to Grant County and check in with LEX 18's Michael Burke.
Angie, you and our viewers might remember all those nice things I said about the Grant County conditions between 8 this morning and 1 this afternoon. Well, I take it all back. This is straight sleet now. It's pelting at us sideways. And if I get out of the way here, I'll show you I-75. Not 1 hour ago, it was clear and the traffic was moving pretty much at a normal rate of speed. Now things have slowed considerably as the pavement is covered. I would say the average speed out there is about 50, and if we're being honest, that's probably a little too fast for these conditions because, again, this is sleet, and it's sticking the second it hits the ground. So now here in Grant County, as is the case in many destinations south of us, we will have this sleet on top of the 1.5 inches or maybe 2 inches of snow we got during the overnight hours, and that'll all be on top of whatever blows in here over the next 5, 6, 7 hours for however long this storm may last. Our live coverage here in Grant County just beginning for this evening. We'll be back once again at 5 o'clock. Angie, let's send it back to you in the studio.
I want to check in live with Mike Valenti. He is down in Laurel County. He's been around the Corbin area checking on the conditions there. Hi, Michael.
Hey guys, right now things have changed quite a bit just within the last 30 minutes. I'm going to go with Bill's general rule of thumb that if you can hear it, it's probably sleet. Well, I can hear it loud and clear. It is very loud right now. It's coming down. Before, if you want to pan into this parking lot, it was pretty sticky. A lot of ice here, but right now, it's not sticking, so that leads me to believe that it is sleet. Remember, it's the freezing rain that we dread. That can accumulate really fast. And this situation right here where I'm standing obviously pales in comparison to the situation right behind me. About 30 miles north on I-75, the interstate is shut down. We're told by KSP that there was a fatal crash around the 55-mile marker. That's in Mount Vernon. We're not sure exactly how many people died, how many cars were involved, but we do know that it did involve at least one fatality. Now, this would mark the third time in less than 24 hours that I-75 in that specific area between Rockcastle and Laurel had to close down. And I can tell you firsthand, last night, driving down to Corbin, the situation was really dicey. You know by now that they had to shut down I-75 around Mount Vernon. I was stuck in that, had to get off, stay the night in Mount Vernon. The hotel I was in was booked. Just got to Corbin a little bit ago, and I'm glad we left when we did because the situation is really starting to get treacherous. Right now, we can't see any visible accidents, but if you're on the road, you're going to want to get off. Kentucky State Police is advising everyone to stay off the roads right now. It's just not safe. For now, we're in Laurel County. Mike Valenti, back to you in the studio.
All right, Mike, thank you. Well, this night gearing up to be an active and an impactful event, so be sure to stay with us on air and on LEX18.com. You can follow all those latest developments there at our website. Plus, you can get the latest on your smartphone. The LEX18 News app and the Storm Tracker Weather app are free downloads in your app store. Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck is next with an update on your forecast.
A busy LEX 18 News at 4 continues after the break.
My grandmother was infected with COVID-19 and I couldn't help her.
With an exposure notification app, I'll know if I've been exposed. The more people who connect, the more people we protect.
I'm doing my part. Download the app. Connect your phone. Protect your community.
The new home for Hank is 105.5 FM, Plains Central Kentucky's classic country hits. If you love country music, you'll love Hank. Make 105.5 Hank FM your new home for the legends of country.
When our Social Security disability clients come to our office, they tell us the government said, "I don't believe you. You're not disabled."
When it's you against the government, you want an experienced attorney.
One who believes in your case, who believes in you.
Most people who apply for benefits are initially denied.
To fight back, you need Kentucky courage.
Call 1-800-55-WILDCAT. Morgan, Collins, Yeast, and Salyer. There's no fee unless you win benefits.
Guys, There ain't nothing better than a Kentucky evening. It's a perfect time to crack open those windows and let it all in.
But you can't if the windows are stuck shut.
Don't let your old windows keep you from enjoying the Kentucky air.
Go to windowsourcekentucky.com and get an easy price on replacement windows.
They're so smooth and easy.
You can open them with a feather. Try it now at the windowsourcekentucky.com.
Beautiful windows
that won't break the bank.
We are all doing our best to get through this very challenging time. But when our loved ones are isolated and we can't get to them to see if they're okay, we feel powerless. If you've been notified that your loved one has been moved to an urgent care facility, or you've been told they've been injured or hospitalized, there are things you can do. Call the dedicated nursing home legal team at Hughes & Coleman, and we can get you the answers you need and help protect your loved ones. Call Hughes & Coleman, 800-800-4600.
No way!
Keep the cold out this winter with energy-efficient window treatments from the Blinds Man.
I blew a circuit, but I knew what to do. I called Bryant Electric. Bryant has always been here for me. They fixed my circuit, put in a Wi-Fi thermostat, even cleaned up the wires behind my television. Bryant, same company, now with electric.
The new home for Hank is 105.5 FM, playing Central Kentucky's classic country hits. If you love country music, you'll love Hank. Make 105.5 Hank FM your new home for the legends of country.
Welcome back to LEX 18 News at 4. The next round of winter weather is on the way, and one of the main things we want to keep an eye on for you, driving conditions, of course, around the city of Lexington. Right now, the forecast calls for the roads to get worse as the day goes on. As you can see, this is New Circle Road, and we have, it looks like a lot of sleet coming down right now here in the city. And let's see, it looks like Keith has turned onto Winchester Road, the on-ramp there to New Circle, or to Winchester Road from New Circle. So you can see things are getting dicey out there and treacherous. So please, ooh, and there goes one of those trucks.
And we are thankful not only for the plow and salt truck drivers that are working for the cities, counties, and municipalities, but all the private ones out there as well who are doing tremendous work trying to keep all of this out of here so we can get from point A to point B. Quick check in Frankfort from the Military History Museum, the St. Joseph Health Weather Bug camera. Everything obviously sleet and snow covered. A little more snow in Frankfort compared to areas to the south and east, but you'll also mix quite a bit of sleet in there as well. Let's come to St. Joseph Hospital in Lexington. There you got Broadway right there. You can see the traffic as it's moving along, and it is moving. You kind of got the tracks cut out there, but everybody seems to be moving along. Don't get that false sense of security because you may have a little traction in the slush that's around. Here's a quick look at Main Street from 21C Museum Hotel. You can see in the dark shadings here where you've got the sleet that is continuing to fall out there, and it is piling up as well, but it'll make the roads icy as we go through time. Pepper Rickhouse. Look at the dark, against the dark backgrounds there. Again, how hard the sleet is coming down, and it is coming down at a rapid pace. What that's telling us is that aloft there, the warm air is there, but it's also relatively thin over Lexington, which is why we're getting more sleet than freezing rain. So you may want to cut the ice storm maybe like that, although the warning will persist. But now we're just getting to the point of mincing, looking for that, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin sort of thing. Did I get that right, Dia? Was that the correct? As many as you want. So there you go. But you see the ice storm is out there, and it will be causing, with Mike Valenti's report down there in Corbin, again, what was going on and the icing. So here's our forecast for you. It's evolved as we've gone from Saturday, and the evolution has been from southeast to northwest with everything as the storm, we finally are getting the final throes of it here. But the ice storm warning, you see a quarter to a half inch of ice, and that will be a problem in southeastern Kentucky. Through the central, and that's the tricky zone because you're going to get something of everything. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow. For accumulations, especially closer to the ice storm, you're looking at 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch of ice. Closer to the all snow area, you're going to see more in the way of a snow sleet accumulation. So within that zone, that does include Lexington. 2 to 5 inches is what we're calling for at this point. You get to the all snow, and that could be Franklin County, northern Scott and Harrison counties, certainly toward Shelby County and back toward Louisville, 4 to 8 inches of snow. So here's the max track Doppler. Interesting, west of 127, we're starting to cut some of the moisture off at this point, so we're going to see how long this goes on, but certainly the next few hours, we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff come down. You look toward Nashville, they've started to dry things out. Everything's now between Nashville and Knoxville, but another surge is trying to come up just west of Nashville there in Middle Tennessee. This has been a big push coming up. You see all this stuff down here in Alabama, Georgia, you can see a little bit of the tornado watch that's across the deep south there. What has happened historically and may be happening to a degree here now is that these big thunderstorms rob the conveyor belt of moisture. So we're still going to get a lot of stuff, but it may shave a little bit off the top end. You can also get an implication here of the counterclockwise, the upper level low as it begins to come by. So again, lots of stuff going on. Temperatures risen to 24 in Lexington, 25 in Danville, 29 in Boonville. Black Mountain, that is your telltale meteorological bellwether, because that's the warm air aloft. That's 4,000 feet up. So that's that layer of warm air coming over the really cold stuff at the surface that creates the sleet and freezing rain. 22 right now in Lexington. We've got a north wind at 8. Your wind chill is at 13. So there's been that northwest shift. Less snow overall, but more freezing rain and sleet. Significant travel and infrastructure impacts are likely, and with the icing, especially we're getting ice on ice, it's adding stress to what is already a bad situation on those trees and power lines, and as the winds pick up later tonight, again, those issues will continue. Freezing rain and sleet ending as snow. Mid-teens overnight tonight, your day tomorrow. A few flurries early, otherwise just very cold with nasty wind chills. We're in the low 20s tomorrow. Here's what your 8-day looks like. 28 snow returns Wednesday afternoon after a very cold start today. Another winter storm comes in here on Thursday. Take your pick as to what's going to be falling, and then the cold will last into the first part of the weekend. All righty, Bill, thanks so very much. Let's take a look over at the Bluegrass Airport with all this weather across the nation, coupled with the snow and ice that we are seeing here in Kentucky. It's having major impact on air travel. This is a look at the flight status board at the Lexington Bluegrass Airport. Cancellation started early this morning for destinations north and south, specifically talking about Philadelphia and Chicago, and then of course to the south, we're talking about Texas has been impacted. And the effects from the storm will likely linger well into tomorrow, and of course that will affect a lot of travel. If you have plans to fly, be sure to check with your airline, though, before heading to the airport, just to make sure. And we continue tracking this winter weather in our region. Let's take this live look at the conditions. This is Lane Allen and Harrodsburg Road here in Lexington. We will have extended weather coverage continuing into our next half hour. There is still more LEX 18 News at 4 to come after this break.
This weekend at Ashley Home Store's President's Day Mattress Marathon. Get 0% interest for 8 years on top bedding brands. Or save 20% off glide-away adjustable bases. Plus get $100 Ashley cash. Friday through Monday only at Ashley Home Store.
Rally's has new $3 meal deal deals. Pick one from a bacon cheddar crisp, a spicy chicken sandwich, or a crispy fish sandwich. Plus small seasoned fries and a drink for just $3. Rally's $3 meal deal deals. Get Rally's delivered.
Hey, Lexington. Got $1? Only $1, and you could get approved from American Car Center, the king of credit.
Don't wait for your refund.
Get approved now. Bring us your tax return, and for only $1 today, you can drive it away.
We've got your back. Whatever your credit history, we want to approve you for a high-quality pre-owned vehicle.
And they all come with a limited warranty and oil changes for up to 3 years.
So come see us today and get that yes you've been looking for.
Shop AmericanCarCenter.com or visit your local store because the king of credit wants to approve you today.
During uncertain times, we can count on a best friend and a warm heat and glow Menneson wood or gas fireplace. Come see my best friend, Geronimo, and the experts at Fireplace Concepts, and let us show you why home is where the hearth is. Take that mask off, silly.
After an injury, you may be thinking, okay, now what? Some people think it will all just pass, but know this, that pain can last for a lifetime, and a lifetime is a long time. Others might say, my case is too small. Hell no. Taking a piece of your health forever is a very big deal, and forever means forever. Don't wait. Your time to bring a case is limited. And remember, all law firms are not the same. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
If you're looking for a new SUV this winter, you gotta run the numbers. Let's start with 3, as in 3 amazing Toyota RAV4s to choose from. The luxurious Limited, the rugged Adventure, and the extremely quick XSE Hybrid at 219 horsepower. And those numbers all add up to 1, as in America's #1 selling SUV. Now when you run the numbers, get $1,250 customer cash, or get a great RAV4 lease for just $199 a month. Run the numbers and save. Toyota, let's go places.
I was coming home from visiting my mom. I jumped on the highway 65. Out of nowhere, a car hit me in the front left fender. I lost control. The car started to spin around. When I woke up from the hospital, I knew I had to call Daryl Isaacs because I just knew he was the right attorney for the case. I knew I was in good hands. I want to thank God. I want to thank Daryl Isaacs and the team for being there for me, and they helped me give me what I need. They helped me get my bills paid. I'm just glad to be alive.
I'm attorney Daryl Isaacs. I've been there, and I'll be there for you and your family.
Don't miss Ashley Home Store's President's Day weekend sale. Friday through Monday only. Save up to 25% off store-wide. Plus 0% interest for 12 months. Or get 0% interest for 5 years with no minimum purchase and no money down. 4 days only at Ashley Home Store.
LEX 18 News at 4 continues now. Here's a live look at the Keeneland racetrack. While it is beautiful, we know that the sleet is coming down, and that's going to make for some tricky driving later. Let's turn it over to Bill for a look at the forecast.
And I just got a report from meteorologist Tom Priddy. He's working over at UK, and he is in Anderson County. About 1.5 inches of sleet and snow grains have piled up there in southern Anderson County. Sleet takes a while to accumulate. It is an accumulation killer. If you were hoping for the big snow, this is what's killing it in a lot of ways. As folks are trying to get around there on the Bluegrass Community Technical College campus, that's from St. Joseph Health WeatherBug. They were also just at a front end loader out here a second ago trying to clear stuff out. But that gives you an idea of what it looks like on sidewalks and trying to get through on the untreated roads. And yet, somebody's getting cheated out of their big snow, and I will hear about it on some of the social media, like, where is my big snow? Well, the sleet and freezing rain are killing those accumulations in a lot of places. But this is a high-intensity storm compared to what we saw last week, as opposed to the long-duration event that put down those coatings of ice that we are still dealing with on the trees and on a lot of other places. But places also are getting ice on ice, and that is a bad combination. The storm is mixing Arctic air, and it's pure Arctic air. The origination of this was in Siberia, and that's what's going all the way down into Texas. It's intersecting that with tropical moisture, and that is a volatile mixture. This is a high-impact event. There will be lasting problems for travel and power, not only for the rest of today, especially getting into tonight and into the day tomorrow as well, and hopefully the power doesn't go beyond any of that. So here's the setup with the future track. Your area of low pressure is cutting across eastern Tennessee. Here's your mix that's sitting up here by 6 o'clock. We may be dry sliding a little bit, so there could be a little bit of a lull trying to sneak in here. We're seeing that on the radar displays, but then we'll bring in the wraparound, and that'll be a good chunk of snow at the tail end. So you're getting the mix right now, but a lot of us will end as at least a brief period of light snow. We get that whole thing out of here. Good news with that. There's your Arctic high, but then as we get you into the early part of Wednesday, here comes the next system, and with that, you are looking at another winter storm threat coming in here latter part of Wednesday going on into Thursday. We are not done with this. So the freezing rain and sleet are out there. You're looking at that ending as a period of snow. Travel will be increasingly hazard. It's bad now. It's going to get worse. Down into the mid-teens tonight. Tomorrow there are a few flurries early. Otherwise, it's a very cold day with nasty wind chills. Highs will be in the low 20s. Those wind chills, single digits, low teens through most of the day.
All right, Bill, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us here at 4 o'clock. Stay with us for our next half hour for extended coverage of this major winter storm.
We'll be back after this break with more live updates on road conditions from our crews positioned all across the Bluegrass.
LEX 18 News breaks down the impact of this serious winter storm on communities around the Commonwealth and gives you some tips to protect yourself during the Arctic blast. Today on LEX 18 News at 5.
I am a real customer of Bryant Heating and Cooling. Why do I do this? Because Bryant has always been here for me. I know that my furnace is going to perform its best, but if it doesn't, Bryant will be here. That's why I do this.
If you get injured, do you really want the insurance company deciding how much money is fair for you and your family?
Call Hughes and Coleman.
We'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. If you want maximum compensation, 800-800-4600.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. If you have or are eligible for Medicaid, please listen closely. You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan from WellCare with a zero or low plan premium. Call now. We can answer your questions and help you enroll over the phone. WellCare provides access to essential benefits that go beyond original Medicare, such as dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage with free home delivery. Plus, extra benefits like free over-the-counter healthcare items, free transportation, free gym membership, and home-delivered meals. Get more access to care with WellCare's telehealth services, including online doctor visits and a 24-hour nurse advice line. WellCare is contracted with Medicare to provide plans that may be perfect for you. Call 1-877-424-1376. That's 1-877-424-1376.
Hey, Lexington. Why will you get the safe, effective COVID-19 vaccine?
I would do it for my family.
I'll do it for my neighbor.
I'll do it for my students.
I'll do it for Sundays.
I'll do it for Saturdays.
I'll do it for race days.
Let's do this. When it's your turn, get vaccinated against COVID-19.
Discover the spirit of the bluegrass on a day trip to Paris and Bourbon County, the birthplace of bourbon. Shop boutiques and antiques downtown, dine in one of our locally owned restaurants, and savor the beauty of horses, history, and hospitality.
I am a real customer of Bryant Heating and Cooling. Why do I do this? Because Bryant has always been here for me. I know that my furnace is going to perform its best, but if it doesn't, Bryant will be here. That's why I do this.
From coast to coast, millions of Americans are under winter weather advisories, many without power as temperatures in some states, including here in Kentucky, are falling below freezing. The dangerous weather conditions not stopping anytime soon. We have crews out live as we begin our extended Storm Tracker team coverage. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dia Davidson.
And I'm Angie Bevan. We continue monitoring another round of snow and these freezing temperatures. Let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck, standing by with what to expect as we get on into this evening and tomorrow.
All right, what we are looking at here is the sleet that is falling. This is a look at Keeneland from the St. Joseph Health Weather Bug camera. It's hard to tell white against the white background, but you look at it against the dark backgrounds here, you can see that you have the sleet falling out there, and it is predominantly sleet that we're seeing, and it's been coming down at a real good clip as we've gone through this afternoon. And that will accumulate, but it takes a long time for sleet to accumulate. If you've been seeing it outside, it's little itty-bitty stuff, these ice pellets, and so it takes a while for it to get to larger numbers, but it can and it will. The ice storm warning is still covering most of southeastern Kentucky, in fact, into central Kentucky as well. Truthfully, we may want to shave a county or two there, but bottom line is, if it's not an ice storm warning, it's a winter storm warning. And so you've got bad stuff going on regardless. But again, we're seeing predominantly more sleet in Lexington than freezing rain. I suspect that's going down into Jessamine County as well, maybe even to Boyle. But certainly further south and southeast, it is freezing rain. So here's what we are expecting in terms of accumulation. Let's start with Lexington first. And so you've got that orange stripe. You know, it's 30, 40 miles wide. Within that, it's everything. You get freezing rain, you get sleet, and you get snow. And with that, you don't get as much of any one particular thing. You know, if you were hoping for these big accumulations outside your house, well, the sleet takes care of that. We don't get nearly as much. So what we're looking at in terms of ice potential on the trees and power lines and on the roads as well, 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch of freezing rain. That's gets to be the real trouble category. In addition to that, there'll be 2 to 5 inches of snow and sleet accumulation within that range. That does, again, include Lexington. Now, it also take into account the inch or so that we saw come down this morning. That was, at least at my house, mostly sleet. To the southeast, it's predominantly an ice storm. And with that, it's 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. And that will be ice on top of ice from last week's storm. And so tree and damage, power line damage certainly is in the realm of possibility, in addition to the unsafe travel from the ice that's falling. Keep in mind, with ice, or with freezing rain, it falls as rain, so that means it's liquid, it's on the roads, and then It's just like it was a regular event with rain. It spreads out. Well, when it spreads out now, it freezes, and you get that thin sheet of ice, as opposed to areas where it's sleeting, and you get more of that slushy stuff that you can get from point A to point B. It just takes you a long time, and it should take you a long time, which means do not go quickly. Take your time. Allow extra time if you have to travel at all. Then to the northwest. You're headed to Cincinnati, you're heading to Louisville. You will run into all snow, and there will be some significant snow in there as well. As we're watching this whole thing evolve and unfold here, you notice it's dried out in the I-65 corridor. There looks to be a dry slot forming here. That may also impact the overall numbers of what we see, but at the moment, we have got some pretty good accumulations ongoing. Lexington down toward Danville and Somerset on to the east, and it turns to just rain in southeastern Kentucky, and some of that rain is going to be locally heavy as well. So the future track, we take you from 5 and 6 o'clock on. Still the coverage of sleet and freezing rain out there. Again, there may be a little bit of a lull that tries to sneak in here for a while. You see things getting more sparse there around 6 and 7. And then at the very tail end, as we get you to 8 and 9 o'clock, we'll wrap one last bit of snow into this system, and that will add some accumulations, and some of that may come down fairly quickly again, middle of the evening. And by midnight and beyond, the whole thing is gone. And all that's left is the cold. And the cold is certainly there. You see temperatures 23 in Lexington, 24 in Flemingsburg, 28 in Richmond, 23 in Frankfurt, but 30 in Somerset and London. So yes, still talking the freezing rain. Even down to Williamsburg, it's an even freezing. So it's a mixture of rain and freezing rain. Harlan, we're waiting to get the colder temperatures there. And really what's interesting too, up on top of Black Mountain, temperatures are in the 40s. So that's the warmer air aloft. And you factor the wind into this whole thing, and you're talking those wind chills that are running in the teens to low 20s. So it is cold out there. It is nasty. The thing is, we will see things deteriorate over the next few hours as well. We're hitting the prime time and in the prime time right now. Give it another couple, 3 hours, and things will begin to start to taper off with the freezing rain and sleet aspects, but then the snow will come in at the very back edge of this. Bottom line is, it is a nasty afternoon and evening to be out. You don't want to be if you don't have to be. We'll talk more about this coming up in the main weather segment and kind of explain why things are doing what they're doing and why the forecast has evolved and changed just a little bit over time. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, we appreciate you always being on it. Thanks, Bill. Well, stay home if you can, because things are getting dicey out there and only going to get dicier. That is the word from Kentucky's governor and also Lexington's mayor about this blast of winter weather. LEX 18's Carolina Buchek joins us now live from the parking lot of Lexington Green. That's just off Nicholasville Road, as drivers are now starting their commute home.
Yeah, and I guess the positive news here in Lexington is that it's not freezing rain. It's definitely sleet. You can hear it as it's coming down, but it's definitely no fun. It's no fun to be out here, and it is definitely not fun for these drivers who are attempting to make their way home tonight. You can see this is Nicholasville Road. We're right by New Circle Road. So these are two major roads that people travel through here in Lexington, and you can see there's plenty of stuff down on the ground. Like this road is pretty covered. Now it's still passable. You see these cars, they are making their way through. It is doable, but you have to take it slow. We have seen people slip up a little bit. We've seen people miss that red light because they weren't able to stop. So there are problems out here, but it's doable right now if you are taking it slow. The bad news, I guess, is this is one of the better roads out there right now, because this is one of the big ones. Some of the small ones, when you're turning onto here, it's getting tough. And also, here in Lexington today, there is a snow emergency that was declared. So parking, starting at 6 o'clock, you're not allowed to park against a snow emergency route. So, and that, of course, is so the plows can get through. How do you know you're on a snow emergency route? Well, there will be those signs that say snow emergency route starting at 6 o'clock. If you're still parked there, the plows can't get through, and of course that's going to create a bigger mess. We don't want that. You want the plows to be able to come through. And the Lexington Street and Roads Director says the good news is they are able to handle something like this.
Our crews are ready to go. We've been through this before, and we feel capable and equipped, and that we have the resources to handle what may come. Of course, we're hoping for the best and planning for the worst.
hoping for the best, planning for the worst. That seems to be what everyone is doing right now. And this is sleet. So like Bill Mack said just a little bit earlier on, it takes a while to accumulate, but you can see it really is coming down. That's what it looks like on a road that is well traveled. Over here, let me show you a road that really hasn't been traveled much at all. You can see it is really coming down here. You can see my footsteps are making quite a bit of an indent. So it is accumulating. That is why you need to take it easy tonight. Take it slow if you are on the roads. And of course, the best thing to do is just stay home. Live in Lexington, Carolina Butrick, LEX 18 News.
And Carolina, in fact, KSP just sent out an alert and said for everybody to stay off the roads and avoid travel at all possible. Now we're going to go and check in to see the current status of neighborhood roads as well as side streets in Lexington. Trying to get around on those roads has been tricky all day. Kristen Edwards, though, continues our extended storm tracker coverage with this report.
With every snowflake and drop of freezing rain, these side roads are getting more and more dangerous. Especially for untreated roads, it can get dicey really fast. I know I slipped a bit in my car trying to get out of a neighborhood, so yes, it is tricky out here. The sidewalks may even be worse. Come on, Ralph. I talked to one woman who was out with her dog and was having trouble walking.
Boy, it is really slick out here.
She was dealing with snow being on top of the ice from that storm last week.
So I think anybody coming out is going to get themselves in trouble, because at least yesterday you could see the ice and you knew where to step. Today, of course, we have the snow on top of it, so we can't much tell.
So the lesson there is to be careful out on the sidewalks. As for your streets, if you want to know if the city is going to plow it, you can head to lexingtonky.gov. Search for the city's snow and ice control plan. There you will find a map where you can look for your street to see where it falls on the priority list and whether or not it will be plowed. In Lexington, Kristen Edwards, LEX 18 News.
Eastern Kentucky is predicted to bear the brunt of the ice storm.
Let's head 33 miles east from the LEX 18 studio. That takes us to Montgomery County, and that's where we find LEX 18's Conroy DeLuche. He's been keeping an eye on the sky and the roads around Mount Sterling.
That's right, Dee and Angie. This is not what we were wanting, but for a couple days, this is what we've been expecting. And a couple of hours ago, the sleet finally hit here once again. Now, there was some sleet overnight. That's why we saw in the parking lot covered this morning, whereas last night it was a sheet of ice. Right now, we're seeing some of that some more, and I can't even turn to my left because it's going to pelt me in the face. So I'm going to step out this way, because right behind me is I-64, and it was much clearer a couple hours ago. And crews have been treating the interstate, but it just can't keep up with the rate that the sleet is falling. But cars have been able to go up and down, and this thing has continued for a couple of hours. This is video from earlier today. As you could see, there was sleet that needed to be cleaned up in the morning. Road crews, private crews also. This was a gas station where we saw one man who was clearing it out earlier this morning. Now, I've been told by emergency management at this point that highways 460 and 60 are both pretty well covered, but they are still passable at this time, although, as everyone is advised, stay home if you can. And then we went downtown at some point this morning where City Hall was open and so was a tattoo shop. We caught up with the owner who was trying to clear up the front, trying to shovel off the sidewalk and make sure that customers could get in and out. He's staying open because it's been a rough year with the pandemic, and he wanted to make sure that if his customers wanted to keep their appointments, they could make it. And he said that this year has prepared them for anything.
Just another thing, roll with the punches. Now roll with the punches, keep it going. A hot cup of coffee, keep your hands warm, keep yourself warm, and get your animals inside.
Roll with the punches. That's been the story for more than 11 months across the country as we've endured the pandemic and among many other things. And now, obviously, this storm that's coming our way that is now sleet in Montgomery County. I caught up with the emergency management director a little bit ago. He said currently there are 59 homes without power. That's all due to last week's storm, and obviously it's not thawed out just yet because it's been below freezing ever since. He did say that at this point there have not been any new power issues, but they do have 3 warming centers on standby, and if people do have issues, to contact dispatch or your local officials, and they'll get those fired up if there is a need for them. Fingers crossed, that there's not, but we will wait and see. As Carolina said, expect the worst, but hope for the best. We're covering the news live in Montgomery County. Conroy DeLuche, LEX 18 News.
And remember to check on seniors, and also don't forget our animals that might be outdoors. We continue our all-day extended coverage of Winter Storm 2021 right here on LEX 18. You can also follow the latest developments on our website, lex18.com. And be sure to download our free LEX 18 News app on your smartphone to get weather updates wherever you might be.
And now let's take another live look at some of the roads in Lexington. This is Harrodsburg Road at Lane Allen. It is a mess out there. You can see the road where the snow and some of that sleet is building up, and drivers are trying to get through there going slowly. Now, a lot of the road crews are working around the clock today. They still ask that you use caution. Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck is up next with another check of your storm tracker forecast as we continue with our LEX 18 extended coverage.
Tonight,
I believe in you.
2 special episodes of The Wall, back to back.
This could be a life-changing moment for us.
She is amazing. I believe that we will win. Yes!
The Wall, new tonight on NBC.
It's going to change us all.
Why do you need a Social Security lawyer? Applying for disability benefits is complicated.
If you don't answer the questions carefully, you can hurt your case.
If you have a hearing, there may be witnesses representing the government. Today, more and more Kentuckians are being denied. You want an experienced Social Security lawyer. You want Kentucky courage.
Call 1-800-55-WILDCAT. Morgan, Collins, Yeast, and Salyer. There's no fee unless you win benefits.
Did you know that 178 million Americans are missing at least one tooth?
It's true.
That's why at Affordable Dentures and Implants, we only focus on tooth replacement solutions.
Whether it's a single tooth, full dentures, or dental implants, we have an experienced dentist who can create a new smile just for you.
At a price that's affordable.
Because at Affordable Dentures and Implants, we want you to
go ahead and smile.
I'm attorney Daryl Isaacs, and we're so excited to announce the grand opening of our new Isaacs & Isaacs courtroom here in Louisville, Kentucky. Our attorneys are used to going to court to fight hard to win their cases, but for many of our clients, it's the first time they've ever stepped into a courtroom. So we wanted them to have the most realistic experience possible when they come in to prepare for trial. So if you've been in a wreck, call, text, or email us for a free case evaluation. We're ready to fight for you.
It is a mess. We're going to report some of the first power outages now coming out of Lexington. Saw some reports out of Rockcastle County, Mount Vernon area. It is very slick there as well, and it's more than likely really slick outside your house as well. Hopefully power doesn't get too bad. If you're looking out now from Frankfurt to the Military History Museum, it's not precipitating as hard as it was. So there's at least a little bit of good news. You're looking there at Maine and Capitol, and you can see how sleet and snow covered things are. A little more snow and sleet compared to the freezing rain aspects there in Frankfurt. As we look to the southeast, it would become more in the way of ice. This is a live look from St. Joseph Hospital. We have a St. Joseph Health weather bug camera. Get out of the way so you can see Broadway. Traffic is moving. I mean, it definitely is moving, but you also see just that the road color is not the usual blacktop. And so it will be slick out there, even though folks have been moving along like, you know, they're just like nothing. Keith Farmer was in here earlier, and he was out with the mobile unit and said people were driving like it was normal, and you can't do that. You are looking down here from 21C Museum Hotel. Against the dark background, you can see the sleet continuing to fall here and how Main Street has indeed become totally sleet covered. It looks like getting packed down pretty well there as well. And we take you out now to the Pepper Rick House in Lexington. Not sleeting as hard as it was a little while ago, though we're losing some visibility here, so indicates that it's still quite a bit of stuff going on out there. And again, that's just sleet. You can hear it coming down. It's the sound that you hear. There may be a little snow mixed in, but not a whole lot as there's warm air aloft. The ice storm warning, winter storm and ice storm warnings essentially area-wide. The ice storm more prevalent to the southeast, more a mix of stuff as you look to the north and to the west. So here's what our final call is with this storm, and it has evolved over time. We'll start honest, it has evolved. That's what forecasts do. There's an old Jerry Seinfeld line that, you gave me the 7-day forecast, we'll see you in a week, except that the stuff changes over time because the atmosphere is a very complex place. And keep in mind, the cause for everything going on right now is not what's going on here at the ground where we have at least a lot of measurements. It's what's going on between 3,000 and 5,000 feet above your head where we don't have a lot of thermometers, but it's that warm air aloft and how extensive it is that determines whether it's freezing rain, whether it's sleet, or whether it's snow. So here is our best shot at it right now. Through the center right here, where you've got that bright orange and yellow, it's the whole potpourri of weather. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow. You get a little bit of everything. That lessens the overall snow and ice accumulations, which for the ice part is good. 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch of ice, but it also knocks down the snow potential. Going to 2 to 5 inches of accumulation, snow and sleet. That takes into account the inch we also had this morning. To the northwest, it's all snow. Louisville, Cincinnati, you are looking at extensive snow there, and that'll be 4 to 8. And you go even western Kentucky, they're going to be pushing a foot. The ice storm is severe in parts of eastern and southeastern Kentucky. 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of ice on top of ice. On the Max Track Doppler, a little bit of a break's coming in here. And we've been talking about that little dry slot trying to work its way eastward. That'll give us a little bit of a lull here for a while, but more stuff is assembling down here toward the Lake Cumberland area, so we'll push all of that through, and there's more stuff back into middle Tennessee. So again, this is just a dry pocket here, but it will start to fill back in. One of the things that might be going on, and we talked about this starting earlier, was some of the big storms down here in the deep south may be robbing some of the moisture coming northbound. We've seen it happen many times, and that may shave the top end off of some of the worst accumulation possibilities. We also see here is the spiraling. There's your upper level low that is driving a lot of this at this point. Lexington went up to 25. We're at 20 when we started this at 1 o'clock when I started at 1. So 23 in Frankfort, 24 in Carlisle, 30 in Jackson. Black Mountain's 44. That's your warm air aloft. And really interesting to see that. The Kentucky Mesonet doing some terrific work there for us. 23 at the Bluegrass Airport. North wind creates a wind chill of 15. So what's going on? For sleet, the warm air aloft is thin. It starts as a snowflake, it melts in the warm air, but it has enough time to freeze on the way back down. It does not turn back into a snowflake. It turns into an ice pellet, and that's sleet. When the warm air is thicker or closer to the ground, it does not have a chance to refreeze, so it falls as water, spreads out, and then it freezes on everything else, the trees, the power lines, and the roads, and that's the freezing rain. Northwest shift means less snow overall, and the President's Day storm, more freezing rain and sleet because of that northwest shift for many of us. Significant travel and infrastructure impacts are certainly within the cards here. And on the trees and the power lines, we've got ice on ice, which is adding weight and stress to what is already a stressful situation for those because they've had ice on them for now getting close to a week. Add some wind in there later on tonight and tomorrow, and again, you're running into the problems. Somebody's going to complain that they didn't get the snow that they were promised. Well, you're getting ice and sleet in addition, but the sleet is the accumulation killer. But this is a high-intensity storm compared to what the long duration was last week, mixing Arctic air and tropical moisture, and again, the impacts can indeed be long-lasting. So for tonight, freezing rain and sleet ending as a brief period of snow. You saw our accumulation totals will be in the mid-teens tonight. A few flurries early tomorrow, very cold with nasty wind chills in the low 20s. Your extended goes like this. Upper 20s, snow returns on Wednesday, another winter storm threat on Thursday. More cold air follows that. Angie?
Man, it's hard to catch a break. Thanks, Bill. Well, in some other news this afternoon, the governor has released his latest COVID-19 numbers in the state. We did tell you at the top of the hour we'd be monitoring his press conference and bring you those updated totals, so here they are. The governor reports 723 new cases today. That is the lowest since October 12th. The governor says that the weather could be contributing to those lower numbers, people perhaps not wanting to get out or facility closures. The governor also says 969 people remain hospitalized. He reported 9 new coronavirus-related deaths in the state. The state's positivity rate is at 6.57%. That's the lowest since early November. The governor also announced child care workers and early childhood educators have been moved to that 1B vaccination group. We'll have more extended weather coverage coming up next.
Hey everybody, Joe with BJ, the owner of West Shore Home. And BJ, I know we've talked a lot in the past about how your team makes the bath remodeling process so easy and efficient, but today we get to see the process up close.
That's right, Joe. Good morning. Well, let's go over to the bathroom and check it out. All right, Joe, so what you see here is a pretty typical job for us. It's a little bit old and outdated, this one dating back to the 60s, and people are going to replace this for two reasons. First, they want something more modern and stylish. Second, it's for the maintenance. They're really tired of dealing with the grout and the mold and the mildew, and they want something that's going to be easier to clean.
So you're going to replace this bath with a brand new bath, and you're going to do it in one day.
That's right, Joe. We replace hundreds of baths like this every single day, and we're going to take out this old, outdated tub and replace it with something beautiful and modern.
I got to see this.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, so it's around noon right now. They just finished the tear out of the old bath. They're super efficient. It's super clean in here too. And now it's time to install the new bath. Wow. So modern, so beautiful, and what a transformation. Folks, seeing really is believing, and you saw it here today. The experts at West Shore Home can transform your bathroom just like this, and they can do it in one day. They really make it easy. So if you're tired of dealing with your old bath, call the number on your screen right now to set up a free quote on a bath replacement and take advantage of this special offer. Get your new shower or bath for as little as $99 a month. And if you call now, West Shore Home will completely waive the installation cost, so you can get that project started with free installation too. Give West Shore Home a call to get your project started today.
LEX 18 News breaks down the impact of this serious winter storm on communities around the Commonwealth and gives you some tips to protect yourself during the Arctic blast. Today on LEX 18 News at 5.
Get an insider's look at UK sports 5 nights a week. Watch BBN Tonight, 5 nights a week at 7:30, only on LEX 18, your official station for Big Blue Nation. Presented locally by CHI St. Joseph Health.
Winter weather can be dangerous, also can be very beautiful to look at.
It can, yeah. It's always pretty to look at if you don't need to get out in it. Take a look at some of these pictures that we've gotten from viewers. This one here, you see a tree coated with ice. Of course, that's pretty when you just get to look at it. Andrew McKinney Green Hills sent this into our Facebook page. It looks pretty, but chilly for sure. And she's definitely got a talent at taking those pictures.
She really does. Next, we have one from Joseph Calhoun. He is from Somerset. He says this parking lot is now a solid sheet of ice. He says it is not just the roads that you need to worry about.
And lastly, this one comes to us from Kelsey Warren. Maybe a little sad here. The trampoline's frozen. No one's going to be out playing on that anytime soon. We'll have to wait for some of that warmer weather that feels like it's in the distance now. But maybe it gives you some hope. The first day of spring, less than 5 weeks away. Well, feel free to send us any of your weather pictures. Just go to our Facebook page.
Now let's send it back again to Chief Meteorologist Bill Mack for another check of your storm tracker forecast.
All righty, and what we're looking at here are the warnings that are out there, and again, they have been extensive, they have been long advertised, and those are indeed covering the entire area. I'm trying to do a little bit of quick analysis. In fact, I'm going to back one up here on the frame. Because you look out from Bluegrass Community Technical College, okay, you got a lot of stuff on the ground, and that's sleet. But looking toward the distance, the visibility is a little bit better. So there might be a little bit of a lull coming in. We were talking about that just a second ago. But winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings are around. Here's what we're expecting. Again, the ice storm to the south, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. Through the Lexington area, you're talking a mixture of freezing rain, sleet, and snow. 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch of ice. A lot of us may be closer to the 1/10 unless you're headed down towards, say, Richmond. And then a 2 to 5 inch accumulation of snow and sleet. And I think we're beginning to approach that in a lot of areas, but it takes a while for sleet to accumulate. And then to the north, it's an all snow. 4 to 8 inches look to be on the card there. And again, it'll be a situation that deteriorates as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Dia?
All right, Bill, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us for our extensive winter storm coverage today. More Storm Tracker team coverage begins right now.
LEX 18. It's about time we fit into your schedule. Streaming local news 24/7. Search for LEX 18 on your device.
Millions of customers are leaving their providers and switching to Spectrum. And if you have AT&T with DirecTV, it's not hard to see why. Because while AT&T charges you extra for an internet modem, Spectrum gives it to you for free.
They do?
Yeah, they do. And Spectrum has the fastest download speeds with the most reliable performance. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds at 200 megabits for $44.99 a month. Call 833-970-4499. Spectrum wins on TV, too. Unlike AT&T with DirecTV Select, Spectrum has more free HD and free on-demand, and sports channels are included.
Wow, really?
Really? Plus, get exclusive original content with Spectrum Originals. Get Spectrum TV from $44.99 a month. Call 833-970-4499. And unlike AT&T with DirecTV, Spectrum doesn't have contracts or early termination fees. We'll even buy out your current contract up to $500. Switch to America's fastest growing internet, TV, and voice provider. Get Spectrum Internet and TV from $44.99 a month each. Ask about our easy self-install options. Call 833-970-4499.
Hooligan's Forge, Central Kentucky's true hand-forged knife shop. Heirloom quality craftsmanship using 1095 high-carbon steel with an astounding sharp edge. Custom orders always welcome. Hooligan's Forge, hand-forging man's first tool in Lexington.
The time for warnings has come and gone. A new batch of snow and ice is now moving through the bluegrass. LEX 18 has live team coverage from across the Commonwealth tracking the winter weather that is threatening Kentucky's roads and power. LEX 18 News at 5 starts now. And good evening. I'm Angie Bevan.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thank you for joining us at 5. LEX 18 has been working overtime on air and certainly behind the scenes tracking the storm for the past 24 hours.
We've got live crews in the storm's path across the state here in Lexington, north in Grant County, and south in Corbin. We will hear from all of them in just a moment.
But first, Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck has another update now on tonight's snow and ice.
I was just enjoying the quad picture there because you can see different stuff going on behind with the reporters. And we have an evolving situation this afternoon where we are beginning to see a lull coming in here in the sleet where it's been hard here for the last couple of hours. Quick check from Keeneland. Okay, so where we were showing this to you earlier, look along the dark backgrounds there. Even from 15, 20 minutes ago, there is not much falling. You can see a little bit going here and there, but not much falling out there right now at all. So there is a break coming in this. So we may get folks home from work today, even though the roads right now are horrible. But again, if stuff stops falling, that's not a bad thing. Ice storm and winter storm warnings cover the entire area. Here's what we are calling for. The ice storm areas to the south and east, London, Corbin, Somerset, Richmond, toward Mount Sterling, with that certainly under the winter storm or the ice storm warning. That does extend up into Lexington. But for the Lexington area and then areas going to the northeast and southwest from Lexington, it's a hodgepodge. It's sleet, freezing rain, and snow. And it's been sleet that's been the dominant weather player through this afternoon. A tenth to a third of an inch of ice potential with that. That's the freezing rain. And then a snow sleet accumulation of 2 to 5 inches. And I shoveled just under an inch of sleet earlier today off of my driveway. And then to the north and west, it is snow. Louisville to Cincinnati in the I-71 corridor. That little bit of a lull we're talking about. See it? Right there. That's on the Max Track Doppler at this point. And you get west of 127. And again, there's a definite break ongoing with just about all the activity now east of I-75. So we've been watching that heavy area marching eastward with time. Now, the overall circulation brings it to the north, so we'll see this stuff slide up. But there's also that eastward translation to all this. Future track from 5 o'clock here. So again, here is your coverage of stuff. It may change to just plain rain across the southeast. That break, maybe an hour or two off on that, but again, it certainly hints that it's there. And then at the tail end, we're going to wrap snow in on this. And so we may see a pretty good burst of snow coming in as well that will add to the overall accumulation. So again, it varies as to where you are, and it varies over the course of just a few miles as to what you see. Bottom line is it is slick out there and will continue to be that way, and we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll be checking back in with you. Thanks, Bill. The University of Kentucky canceled in-person classes this afternoon due to the weather.
But the healthcare facilities remain open, and that includes the COVID-19 vaccination site. LEX 18's Jacqueline Nye is there right now and joins us with details.
We've been at Kroger Field all day today, watching as a steady stream of people are going under that tent here at Kroger Field to check in to get their COVID-19 vaccine. UK officials stress that if you are coming to Kroger Field today for the vaccine, you have to have an appointment. They will not be accepting walk-ins, and it's also important that you come on the correct day and the correct time of your appointment. Nothing has really changed about the specific protocols for the appointments, but if you have an appointment today, UK officials ask that you dress warm, stay in your car if you get here early, and to only get in line about 10 minutes before your appointment. UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says that they consider this clinic a healthcare facility.
And much like we keep the hospital and the health clinics open, they're open today as well and have remained open. We're going to make every effort to keep the vaccination clinic open.
As for the weather and if it'll close the clinic tomorrow, UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says they will be sure to let the patients who have appointments tomorrow know on their decision. In Lexington, Jacqueline Nye, LEX 18 News.
If you have stuck your head outside in Lexington recently, you have probably been met with that nasty mix of sleet and snow.
LEX 18's Larry Smith is off the anchor desk and out in the elements for us tonight. Larry, what have you seen so far?
Well, I will tell you this right now. One thing that I've seen is the wind is not as bad as it was an hour or even 2 hours ago. All afternoon long, it's been just these little ice pellets coming down and coming down hard, which is why I'm kind of facing this way to stay away from that. But turning around just now, and it's not quite as bad, these ice pellets and the sleet that's been hitting down. Another good thing, if you look right here on Nicholasville Road, is that the traffic is down from what it was earlier. So hopefully some of the motorists and people here in Lexington are taking heed from all of our local leaders saying, please stay off the roads if possible. The volume is much less than it's been even at 4 o'clock and at 4:30. And so, again, we hope that that continues. One thing that we did hear earlier from state officials is that there was going to be so much snow on the ground that the plows really wouldn't be able to keep up, and we are seeing that. There's still quite a bit of snow here on the ground that does make it slick on the roads. But, again, you mix it in with the sleet. It is dangerous, not impossible right now here, but again, extreme caution. If you don't have to be out, certainly stay in, and we'll check back in with you later on. But again, right now, not as bad as it was. So maybe Bill and the rest of the team, this is beginning to work its way out, hopefully. We will see. Reporting live, Larry Smith, let's go back to you.
We'll take any break we can get, however brief. Thank you, Larry. LEX 18's Mike Valenti joins us live now south of here down in Corbin, where ice is expected to be the big weather headline. What are you seeing now, Mike?
This is a nightmare. I mean, just look at this. It's just sleet and freezing rain everywhere, all over. And this just rapidly deteriorated in the last 30, 45 minutes. It's really coming down all over Laurel County. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any gloves or a hat with me, so I guess I'll be like this the rest of the night. But we're here so you don't have to be. If you're home right now, stay inside. There's no reason to go outside. Kentucky State Police, transportation officials all say that the roads are too hazardous to drive on right now. In fact, about 30 miles north of here in Rockcastle County, officials are dealing with a major fatal accident. We don't know the exact details, but we do know there's at least one death. That's around the mile marker 55 in Mount Vernon, and that would mark the third time in less than 24 hours that we've seen the interstate shut down in that area. Last night, while we were driving down to Mount Vernon, there was just a patch of ice on the roadway. The situation was completely untenable. Now, here in Laurel County, I just talked to the emergency management director a little bit ago. He tells me they've been seeing mostly freezing rain. Now we're starting to see that turn to ice, or sleet rather, within the last 30 minutes. He says the secondary roads are still very slick and hazardous. They're starting to see a slush on the main roads. And he said, please just stay home. We're going to check in back with them throughout the rest of the night. But we'll be back here at 6, 7, and for the foreseeable future. For now, we're live in Laurel County. Mike Valenti, LEX 18 News.
All right, get your hands warmed up out there. Thanks, Mike. And LEX 18's Michael Burke joins us live from Grant County. That's, of course, in the strip of northern counties, expecting more snow than Lexington. So, Michael, how's it looking out there?
Not very snowy, Angie. It's been 100% sleet since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's a little lighter now than it was when we spoke to you about an hour ago, but let me show you what's going on here. Now, some of this, mind you, might be snow from earlier today or from the overnight hours, but that is just sleet, pellets of sleet. That's all we've gotten here in the last hour, hour and a half. Let me show you what's going on I-75 behind me. We just saw a salt truck go by, but it is covered, and you can see the average speed is very slow. For whatever cars are on the freeway right now, it's not many, and it shouldn't be. We spoke with Steve Tatum, who heads the county's roads department here in Grant County, and he said the key to them doing a quick and efficient job is for you not to be on the roads. It makes the whole process go much faster and more efficient for them when nobody's on the roads. And that's what they'll need tonight, because he told me it would take a solid 12 to 14 hours for them to dig out from this one on all 235 miles of roadway they are responsible for here in Grant County. But I-75 behind me, you can see, is virtually empty, and the cars that are on there aren't moving much faster than 40 miles per hour. Live in Grant County, I'm Michael Burke, LEX 18 News. Let's send it back to you.
Thank you, Michael. Still ahead, Governor Beshear is asking Kentuckians to play it safe with this latest winter storm.
I spoke with the governor one-on-one this afternoon about tonight's round of snow and ice. We'll have his weather warning for all Kentuckians a little later in the newscast. Your complete storm tracker forecast is right after this break.
Don't miss Ashley Home Store's President's Day weekend sale. Friday through Monday only. Save up to 25% off store-wide. Plus 0% interest for 12 months. Or get 0% interest for 5 years with no minimum purchase and no money down. 4 days only at Ashley Home Store.
When Kentuckians face a cancer diagnosis, they want the latest research, the best treatment options, the most advanced care. That's why Kentuckians come to UK Healthcare's Markey Cancer Center when it matters most. And it's why we've been named the top cancer center in Kentucky and one of the best in the nation by U.S. News Best Hospitals. UK Healthcare's Markey Cancer Center, the power of advanced medicine.
If you're looking for a new SUV this winter, you gotta run the numbers. Let's start with one, because Toyota Highlander is #1, holding its value better than anything in its class. There's also the best-in-class 12.3-inch touchscreen and the 580 miles Highlander Hybrid can go on a tank of gas. Now when you run the numbers, you can get $1,750 customer cash on any new Highlander, or get a great lease for just $269 a month. Run the numbers and save. Toyota, let's go places.
For years, I've been wanting to try to do something to get rid of reading glasses, and I met the folks here at Dr. Abel's office, and they said, no, we can get rid of those reading glasses forever. I never knew anything about having cataracts, and I had eye exams, and nothing was really revealed, but I came here to Dr. Abel's office, and I thought, well, I'd love to give it a try. It's not intrusive. It's just a simple little procedure. It was a piece of cake for me.
For 4 days only at Ashley Home Store's President's Day weekend sale. Save up to 30% off on doorbusters, like this sofa, now only $399. Plus, get 0% interest for 5 years with no minimum purchase and no money down. Friday through Monday only at Ashley Home Store.
LEX 18 Storm Tracker Weather in partnership with Kentucky Farm Bureau.
Truth be told, just stuck my head outside because it never hurts for a weather guy to go stick his head outside and look up and see what's going on. What we've got going on right now in Lexington, there is still sleet falling, but we're also mixing a little bit of freezing rain in there with it as well. What's going on is overall there's less stuff going. There's less energy at the moment in the atmosphere, so there's less what we call dynamic cooling taking place. And so what's happening is the warm layer may be expanding just a little bit aloft. As we look out here from St. Joseph Hospital, bottom line is it's still slick and icy out there. So we're now just getting down to the nitty-gritty of what actually is falling out of the sky. One thing that has changed, if you look really carefully, you can see the outline of the buildings downtown. So again, the visibility has improved a little bit. Speaking of downtown, from the 21C Museum Hotel looking down on Main Street, I mean, we are obviously completely sleet covered in that, and there's ice mixed in there as well. So again, traffic has been moving, but it's been moving relatively slowly. A look from the Pepper Rick House, which earlier was really helping to tell the tale with a lot of stuff going on. And with that, it looks like there's a tow truck doing its work down there. It might have been a plow. Anyway, looked out against the dark background here. Not as much stuff falling. And so, again, a lull is certainly in place. The ice storm I don't think is going to get to Lexington. But the bottom line is it's still a winter storm, and it's still nasty out there with the sleet. Ice storm warnings across the south and southeast, as Michael Valenti was highlighting a little bit ago. So the ice storm there, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of ice is certainly within the realm of possibility. Tree and power line damage, travel difficulties certainly will ensue. Through the central part here, this is our call on it. We're looking at 1/10 to a 1/3 of an inch of ice possible, and then 2 to 5 inches of snow. Now, you're not going to see both. But that's what's in this realm here of what you're likely to have one way or the other. For Lexington, we're going to have more, I think, in the way of sleet accumulation out of this. We already had an inch of it this morning. We may put a little bit more. We've already put quite a bit more on top of that. And then the all snow is up in the I-71 corridor and back to the west. So on the Max Track Doppler, we've got this lull that has set up, although we're trying to fill some stuff back in now between Lexington and out towards Springfield. So it's a situation where there's some dry air that has been in train. But when you look east of I-75, you see all these dark pinks. Okay, that means stuff was coming down hard. That's hard sleet that has been falling. And what's got going on here is you've got your conveyor belt of moisture. You see those bright yellows showing up. That's getting into the cold air aloft. And what happens then is you make the sleet and it comes down at a pretty good rate. We are seeing more stuff beginning to fill in back here around Nashville. But again, you get this whole big area where there has been a definite lull. What may also be happening is the energy may be starting to transfer east over the Appalachians. Bigger picture for you, there's also big thunderstorms ongoing across the deep south. And with those, there have been tornado watches. What does happen sometimes is that these big storms rob moisture from coming northbound. It has happened many times in the past, and what it does is it shaves down the overall accumulation potential. But still, as things wrap back around in here, that's when we'll see that final push, and it will likely end as some snow. We've been using the Kentucky Mesonet here, and it's been a terrific resource, but we've been using it to help us tell us what's going on a lot, because there is one station, and that's the one that is on Black Mountain, is 4,000 feet up. It tells us what's going on, at least at that location, 4,000 feet up, because we don't have a thermometer 4,000 feet up over Lexington. So it's that warm air aloft that's the key. So again, you see the warm air. Just know that it gets thinner and cooler as you come up toward the core of the cold air, which is sitting up there to the north. But now up to 25 on the south side of Lexington, 23 at the Bluegrass Airport with that north wind at 15. Your wind chill comes in at 10. So there's your thick warm air aloft. When you get freezing rain, that's what happens. It's thick. The water drop doesn't have a chance to freeze on the way down, so it falls as rain and then freezes on everything else. For sleet, the warm air is thinner. And with that raindrop then has a chance to freeze into an ice pellet on the way down, and that's the sleet we've been seeing. If it were to be snow, it's cold air all the way from the ground to the cloud. Northwest shift has been happening since Saturday, and our overall projections with this means less snow overall. I know there's a lot of disappointment with that. There's more freezing rain and sleet. Nobody likes those two, but of the two, sleet is better than the freezing rain. But significant travel and infrastructure impacts are going to be a possibility, especially where we put ice on ice in the freezing rain areas, already putting added stress to what has been a stressful situation on them, and now more weight. And now more wind may come along for the ride. But the sleet cuts down the accumulations, and somebody is just not going to be happy about that. Truth be told, we'd all like to see at least a little bit of snow out of this, because freezing rain and sleet are not nearly as interesting. This is a high-intensity storm, though, compared to the long-duration event that we saw last week. Tropical moisture mixed with Arctic air does not happen often, but we're seeing it this go-around. So future track from 5 o'clock here. There is your storm sitting over Knoxville. As it heads up toward the eastern corner of Kentucky at 6 o'clock, there's that dry patch we're talking about there. But then we wrap the snow back in as we get you to the middle and latter parts of this evening. But the good news is this whole thing gets out of here by later on tonight. Freezing rain and sleet ending as snow, mid-teens for that overnight low with the winter storm warning. Few flurries early, otherwise just a cold day tomorrow. May get some sunshine, though, in the low 20s. After a very cold start to your Wednesday, snow returns. That turns into another winter storm threat on Thursday.
All right, Bill, just keeps coming. Thank you. Now let's take a live look outside at Lexington streets. Here are 4 views of the intersection at Alumni Drive and New Circle Road, courtesy of the city of Lexington. Well, you can't see much, if any, blacktop by now, and there are some long icicles on one of the cameras. So remember, officials are asking everyone to stay off the roads tonight. KSP asking that as well. If you do have to get out, drive carefully and pack a cold weather emergency kit. LEX 18 News at 5 is back right after this.
Tonight, I believe in you. 2 special episodes of The Wall, back to back. This could be a life-changing moment for us.
She is amazing. I believe that we will win. Yes!
The Wall, new tonight on NBC.
It's going to change us all.
When I talk to colleagues, they talk about do your research, and all the research has shown that Cleveland Clinic has always been number one.
At ADA Heating and Air, we are honored that you choose us every day for your HVAC needs. We proudly install American-built, American standard products at the best possible prices. ADA and American Standard, built to a higher standard.
ADA is on the way. Some clients say they're not the type of person who sues, but many of our cases are settled without having to sue anyone. In almost all of our car crash cases, insurance companies are responsible for paying the claim, not the person who hit you. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Window World Siding comes complete with an 1.5-inch form-fitted foam. Take advantage of our current financing offers and give your home the makeover it deserves.
Call to schedule your free in-home estimate today.
Are you planning on retiring in the next 2 years? There are many factors that can impact what your retirement will look like. Income, taxes, savings, estate plans. Now is the time to understand when you can comfortably retire. At Family Wealth Group, we can walk you through how to retire and protect what you've worked your whole life for. Our process includes everything from analyzing where you are now, understanding your 401k, pension or savings, mapping annual distributions, estate planning, Social Security, and even how to protect your assets from unnecessary taxes. We can also help plan your legacy for those you love. Our team can put your mind at ease and prepare you for retirement. We can do everything but set the date. Initial consultations are free.
The Money Minute is brought to you by Family Wealth Group. LEX 18 News is brought to you by the Chicken Strip Basket, only from your DQ. Happy tastes good.
Here's a quick check of Frankfort along Capitol and Main. Things are moving, so good news. Although you see how snow-covered the roads are there. That again from Frankfort. From Bluegrass Community Technical College, you see there is a sidewalk there. How everything is covered up in snow and sleet. And as we look towards, say, downtown along Broadway there, again, traffic does continue to move, but it is going to be slower than usual.
Tweet and say, thanks, Father Jim. All right, Bill, thank you. Well, roads are already tricky in parts of the Bluegrass, and it's only going to get worse from here.
I spoke with Governor Beshear this afternoon, and his best advice was to stay home if at all possible. He says the Emergency Operations Center has been up and running since last week's snow and ice and is on even higher alert tonight. They'll be monitoring everything from Frankfort and coordinating with police, traffic, and power crews to keep Kentucky running the best they can. But the state could use a little help keeping the roads clear.
So we are ready, but what we need from everybody out there is to stay off the roads. If you can do that, if you can stay inside in your home or even just out in your yard, if you can get out there to play with the snow, it leaves those roads available for those that need it, for emergencies, and for our cleaning crews.
The governor says he hopes to make a decision on whether the state's COVID-19 vaccination centers will be open by Wednesday, a day before a second round of winter weather is expected to hit Kentucky. He says anyone whose appointment is canceled by the snow and ice will be rescheduled to the same time 1 week after their original date. You can find more from my interview with the governor on LEX18.com and the LEX18 Facebook page.
Well, let's take a live look right now from the LEX18 mobile cam. And here you go. We are checking some of Lexington's side roads tonight to give you a driver's seat view and that perspective of how the streets are holding up. Now, remember, you are asked to stay home unless it's an emergency or necessary to get out on the roads tonight. The roads could be impossible to drive tomorrow morning. Well, we get a great idea of how the storms are going thanks to our viewer pictures and videos.
We'll show you some of our favorite snapshots from across Kentucky right after the break.
LEX 18 Storm Tracker Weather. The experience you trust every day. The accuracy you need on every device. With MaxTrack, the only live Doppler in Central Kentucky. So while seasons may change, our commitment stays the same. When Kentucky weather is at its worst or at its best, you can count on us. LEX 18 Storm Tracker Weather and MaxTrack Live Doppler, the most trusted name in local weather, in partnership with Community Trust Bank.
Hi, everybody. Back on the road with BJ Worzen, owner of West Shore Home, for another on-site one-day bath remodel. Hey, BJ.
Good morning, Joe. I'm super excited to show you another bath transformation today, so why don't we head right over to the bathroom and check it out. All right, Joe, so what you see here is a really typical bath that we replace. Now, this is a one-piece fiberglass unit that's typically used in new construction to cut costs. And as you can see, the walls don't even make it the whole way up to the shower head, which leaves it exposed and causes mold and rot. Now, these units typically have a coating on them, but only after a few short years, it starts to wear off and they start to show their age and you can start to see some stains.
So, BJ, this is really a routine project for your crew, a complete tear out and a full shower installation in one day.
That's right, Joe. We do thousands of these every year, and we're going to take out this old tub and replace it with an easy step-in shower for improved safety and a modern upgrade.
Can't wait to see it. Okay, the old unit is out. They made that look really easy. Time now to install a fresh new shower. Now we're talking. Take a look at this. It has a whole new feel. So fresh and so modern. I love the low step. They got the grab bar for added stability. They did a textured floor. This is beautiful and so modern. Folks, this morning, this was an old bathtub. This afternoon, it's a beautiful, safe step-in shower. If you've been thinking about replacing your old bath, call the number on your screen right now. Get a free quote on a bath replacement and take advantage of this great offer. Replace your old shower or bath for as little as $99 a month. And when you call right now, you'll get free installation on your shower or bath project. Don't miss this great offer. Call the bath experts at West Shore Home now.
Have a news tip? Then call the LEX 18 News tip line, 381-1801, or email us, news@lex18.com.
MaxTrack Doppler here. We are looking at the heaviest of stuff now east I-75. We have a little bit of a lull now, western part of Fayette County, western Jessamine, Woodford, part of Scott and Franklin counties, down along the 127 corridor as well. We are starting to see some new stuff redevelop back here, but for the moment, the heaviest batch of sleet, and it is coming down hard, is east of I-75.
Well, we put out the call for more pictures and videos from our viewers. We put that out overnight, and we got some pretty stunning responses.
Here's a look at a few of our favorites that were posted earlier today. First, a look at a home in Highland, Kentucky, which is a community in Lincoln County, south of Stanford. Carrie and Sarah Hoskins say this tree was battered during last week's ice storm, and it cut their power off once. They're not sure if it will be able to take much more with this week's storms.
And next, a little happier scene with Megan McCann Richardson and her family. She posted this scene from the Woven Wire Mountain Biking Trail in Danville. Check out 6-year-old Davis holding this giant icicle. It looks like it's probably taller than him by far. His 2-year-old brother Bennett is looking for one of his own in the background.
Oh my, that's impressive. But check out this slow-mo shot of this brave man in Johnson County this morning. Nathan Coleman got his PJs, robe, sunglasses, and morning coffee and dared to slide on his frozen driveway. He did great, though, until his back foot slips. You see it going there, and he tries to save it. He nearly face-planted on the ice. But look at the coffee cup. Our producers checked several times, and it appears he did not spill any of his coffee. Way to go, my man. Thanks to Taylor Page Coleman for that video. Save the coffee at all costs. If you have a picture or video you'd like to share with us, just comment on our post on the LEX 18 Facebook page, and who knows, we may use it on air.
Our coverage of tonight's winter storm continues in just a moment.
That's right, LEX 18 News at 5:30 is just after this break.